All right, I have Abi Ayers here with me today, and I am so excited. You probably already know her and love her, but I wanted to bring her on and have a conversation because I had some questions that I wanted to ask. I wanted to kind of talk more about her life, her experience, specifically maybe on social media. But Abi is someone that you can easily know and love and want to want to be friends with. I think that you naturally attract people who are looking to feel comfortable and to feel confident and to feel accepted and to be understood. And she is an awesome mom. I think that her viral video of her entire family was such a good indicator of what kind of a mom and wife and family that you have. And people fell in love with your family, not just you, through that viral haircut video. I think my favorite part for me was that I was literally sitting in the salon chair getting my hair done when someone had shared it, and I went over and that's I was like crying in my chair while I was getting my hair done because I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't, yeah.
But nobody really knows what was happening.
including you. But also like in that viral video, I hope you've all seen it, but if not, Abi has a highlight bubble on her Instagram where you can go and see her whole haircut experience. But you could have turned that into a very angry, negative thing. And like, I can't believe this happened to me. Like, what was she actually thinking? Blah, blah, blah. And turn this into this angry, bitter, annoying, you know what I mean? This annoying thing, which I mean, I don't know. On Instagram, I think that's a good 50-60% of what happens when people have a less than ideal experience. Yeah. But I think that speaks volume to your character of how you literally like turned this thing into like, you were like, well, here we are.
This I can either laugh about it or cry about it. So,
and maybe I'll do both, but I'm not going to like be super angry and mean, at least online. You didn't do that. So that was my first experience with Abi. And then I reached out to her and we ended up doing a Pilates collaboration, which was hilarious.
That was fun. First and only ever like Pilates experience.
Which I'm shocked because you were actually so good at it. I was shocked at your flexibility and you're like, do you remember? You were like, wait, I actually could probably do this.
Oh, I know. I got to get one of those chairs. I had no idea what Pilates I didn't even know how to say it.
Yeah.
And when I walked in the studio, it looked like a torture chamber. I was like, okay, what is this?
And some days it is. Yeah. So and well, the real truth is, so Joseph Pilates, he actually created the reformer for patients that were in hospital beds because he thought that the most important thing for them to do was to continue to move their bodies. And so it truly was, it's like a rehabilitation workout, but it's so good for you. So we've been able to work together through that. And then also some fun music videos and other collaborations. So Abi is like this, like she is connected to just about everyone. And I think that is because of just how fun and like up for anything that you are. I know you also have a back history of a lot of business type stuff. So whatever else you would like these people to hear about you, I would love to you to further introduce yourself.
So yeah, that was really nice of you. Thank you. I just like, maybe we should do this every day. No,
this is recorded for you. It's recorded for you. You can come back and listen. Yeah, I could say 100 more nice things about you. That is the actual truth.
Well, I love you. And I'm so glad you were like one of my very first collaborations.
And that's so fun.
I know. So I'm glad you reached out. I didn't even know I didn't know what a collaboration was. I didn't even know what an influencer was when that happened. So like, I felt like Ariel, like, a whole new just like,
yes,
what freak is this? Like,
yeah,
who is this? I went to it's really funny. I went to a book launching party for Maria Lichty, Two Peas in Her Pod, and there was an influencer launch party, right? So I like show up. I know no one. Like I know no one. And they all knew who I was because they're all sharing.
Yeah.
And I remember, this is so embarrassing, but like every single person I met, I'm like, what do you do? Who are you? And they're all just like, oh girl, like you are a fish out of water right now.
They're like, you don't know me?
Oh no, none of them were like that, but just like, you do not belong here. like you do belong here, but just like, this is so random. Yeah, you're just the random little fish out of
fresh energy is so good.
Oh, it was so good. It
so
was so
I'm
fun.
sure
They were all just like, oh, everyone was so nice.
So nice.
Kind. And then I go home and I like research all these people and I'm like, oh, so like, for example, I see this girl sitting alone at a table, right? Like we get our dinner and like she's sitting alone and I like go sit next to her and I'm like, hey, like loser,
like you okay? You need a friend? My mom taught me to sit by people like you.
And it's Shay McGee. And I'm like, what do you do? We literally talked for like 30 minutes. I have zero idea who I'm talking to.
She's like, so I have this little line in Target.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I sell. Yeah, like I just, I'm a designer.
Home decor.
My mom was a designer. It's just, oh
that's
my,
amazing.
Like, I will never forget that moment when I go home and I'm like,
you're like, okay. So ain't okay.
That's
and you got a show. That actually makes it so much better. And honestly, I think it too, for people like that, it's so refreshing for them to just have a normal conversation without someone who is trying to collaborate or to,
There was nothing other than me trying to be like a friend, like, oh, hi. Like,
that's amazing.
She probably was like, oh, please don't bother me. Like, please.
No, not even kind of.
No, she was honestly like the nicest, kindest, like sweetest.
Yeah.
And anyway, love Shay.
That's amazing.
Shout out to Shay McGee.
Yes, I love her.
Yeah.
Okay, so back in the day,
Before Instagram. Okay, well let's rewind really fast. Okay. I went to college. I did liberal arts and sciences, and my justification for that was like, I'm just like, nobody does anything with their major. Like, I'm just gonna like do what I want.
Get one.
With liberal arts and sciences, you literally pick what classes you want.
Yeah.
And it like becomes a major.
Perfect.
And so like I did all the liberal art. Like I did like philosophy, Greek mythology. Like I did have to do Spanish, which I served a mission, and so I just tested out of that. That was really nice.
Perfect.
And then just like a lot of English classes, a lot of history classes, a lot of anthropology, just like classes I loved. So then when I graduated college in 2009, there were absolutely no jobs. Like I got a job with a physiatrist, which is a back doctor, making $10 an hour. And I'm like, this is
why did I go to college?
Like what is happening? Anyway, and then I was miserable. It was terrible. And my mom was like, my dad had just come out with this tool called the PMD, the personal microderm. And my dad's always been an entrepreneur. He's like, he started OGO. He's a very entrepreneur.
Wait, excuse me. What did you just say?
You know, the bag company OGO?
Well, I sell OGO like every single day at my shop.
Oh, yeah.
Did you just say your dad started that?
Yeah. He started OGO.
Excuse me?
In the 90s or 80s? No, 90s.
Wait, what? I am literally mind blown. Ryan will come.
Quite a few companies.
Ryan will come here later today and he will be sporting his OGO bags.
Well, there you go. Yeah, OGO was a really big project. He started that. He sold, and then we all went and lived in the Philippines for a year as a family. like, it was amazing. But yeah, he's always been entrepreneurial. He was a land developer, so he always just worked for himself. Like, he's developed many.
Wow.
Like, he's just, he always has
Yeah.
a lot of things. And I think, like, I'm pretty sure it's ADHD, and I think that's a superpower. Like, that's a
same.
I definitely have ADHD.
Same.
I'm like,
same.
Wholeness to like be my superpower, but I think business has been like a really good outlet for me because
totally.
Anyway, so my mom was like, "Hey, we should do like a shoot off of PMD and create our own little company and go sell it, and like you can, you know, make money that way, and you'll make way more." So we like started My Skincare Favorites. Shout out to that company.
Amazing.
And we went and sold these microderm units like all over the United States, and we went to like tons of shows. We started out with home parties because we're like home party, which was amazing, and then we kind of went to shows like, you know, like What a Girl Wants or something. I don't know what the shows are, but probably fun. And we got into the skincare, and like it just kind of progressed. And then finally PMD was like, we want to just hire you. So then I went and worked for my dad, and at this point there were literally 4 employees. So like I literally learned from the ground up how to create a multi-million-dollar company in like 3 years, and how to get from here to here. And that was in 2009, where there was a ton of like the grassroots efforts of PMD started with influencers. So but Instagram wasn't like a big thing. It was more like YouTube and like email campaigns and stuff like that. So we kind of like Facebook was big. Well, it wasn't even that big. Facebook was not even that big then. You know, it was like
or blogs. Was it in blogs? It was maybe on blogs.
Blogs, yes, blogs and YouTube was really who our target influencers were. Yeah. And so I learned we all learned together about social media marketing and the power behind that. But I never like followed these people, and I never really like got it because I was doing I was in charge of like large accounts like Nordstrom, Costco, like those were my accounts for like the big box stores, right? Yeah. And so I was like chummy with all these, you know, Neiman Marcus. I have like contacts at all these big box stores, and we're chummy, where the other guy is working on all these influencers, right? And so I learned all about marketing and how to start a business. It was just so good. And then when I had Aspen, I quit, and then I was just a mama, and that was a really like such a good transition for me in so many ways. And like the truth is, I want to be, this is like my true, like what Abby really wants. Like I love the hustle, I love the work, I love the hustle, but I just want to like live in a little cottage with my children. I want to like, I don't want to homeschool, but in my like family, I'm homeschooling, I'm baking, I am like gardening, we're eating farm to table. My house is always spotless. My husband and I have the perfect sex life. Like just that's my fantasy. I just like my home is like my haven. And I just want to like
all of those things that you said, I believe, like reading into it, is that all of those things sound like peace. So what you want is just a home that has peace. And sometimes I think that we do like put actually expectations on a perfectly clean house, or I have to be homeschooling, or all of these things, because we think that those are the way to peace. But I believe that you probably cultivate this space of peace regardless of what you're doing, but you're also doing a lot of those really cool things like gardening and your cottage. I saw that you just bought your house.
Everyone's like, wait, what house did you buy? I'm like, this one, this actual one that we've been living in for years. We actually like bought it now, and they're like, oh, like
you're like, that was the plan, but it was a process.
Oh yeah. So all of this. Okay.
That's so exciting.
I'm going way too slow here.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Okay,
this is actually fascinating.
Anything you want.
Nothing. I don't want anything else.
Like
Okay.
Abi bio.
I love it. Yeah. Biography. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So anyway, so that's like kind of how that happened. I became a
Yeah.
mom. I quit for like, I don't know, until we moved to Michigan. We bought a house. We started flipping houses, and
So cool.
so fun, so great. It was nice to have that break. During that time, a lot of waiting happened, and I know we're going to talk about waiting, and I haven't stopped thinking about waiting. But anyway, I get a call from my brother in the same week. I get a call from my brother, and I get a call from my other brother. My first brother was like, "Hey, I want you to put on this door-to-door convention with me. You've gone to so many shows, you know how it works." Like, and I'm like, "Well, I don't know how to put the show on. I was just a vendor." And he's like, "We'll figure it out." And I'm like,
so cool.
"Okay, are you paying me?" Like,
yeah, you're like, "What's the dollar amount here?"
I know. I was like, "So what's the brass tacks?" No, but so we started that, and then my other brother called, and he said that this nonprofit really was looking for like a social media manager, and thought that I would like be a really, and so
Yeah.
in the same week I got 2 calls, and I was like, "What is happening right now?" And so Ammon comes home from work. I'm like, I was just offered 2 jobs that seemed pretty like reasonable for me to do at home.
Yeah.
Like, should I do them? And then we got talking, and I took the jobs. We moved back to Utah. Ammon got a job in Utah. We bought another flip. So we are flipping another house. And in that moment, it was like the busiest freaking time of my life. I had 2 jobs. I had 3 kids that were 3 and under. We were flipping a house. Ammon was working full time. We were living in my in-laws' basement.
Nope. It's a lot.
It was like so much.
Well, even like living in a house that you're flipping without 3 kids under 3, like,
well, no, we were living in my,
you were living in the basement. Okay, so you were in a basement and you were flipping a house. I pictured you living in the house that you're flipping because I know a lot of people do that.
So we were trying. I was like, honestly, living in this basement is the fuel that is going to get us to finish.
Yeah,
this
that's fair.
As fast as possible. So we would put the kids to bed at 6:30. Like, that was a non-negotiable.
That's amazing.
To bed at 6:30, no matter what, for years. Like, we just moved it to 8, like a year ago. I'm not.
Well, my kids currently go to bed at like 1 a.m. I'm like, everyone, why are you making dinner on a stove at 12:45 in the morning? Like, what is happening?
That was like a hard boundary for me. And I think that boundary helped me.
Totally.
I was like, it was
totally.
Anyway, so I just remember we'd put the kids to bed at 6:30. We would just go over to the house and just work until 2 in the morning. We'd wake up again, it was just like nuts. It was chaos, and it was beautiful and wonderful. That was a good season. We bought another house randomly, flipped it, moved into that, and then Carol for President happened, and it was like, the hell?
What just happened?
Yeah, then our whole lives flipped upside down. So like, it's funny because so when I became social media manager of this nonprofit, I started doing my own Instagram a little bit more. And that is right when stories launched on Instagram. I remember.
So not that long ago. Yes.
No, this was not long ago. Like, all my kids are pretty young still. So Instagram stories launched, and I remember everyone was like so hesitant.
What are we doing here? Oh yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Oh, it was so awkward. Like, it was like, I would like watch people do their stories, and I'd be like, what the hell are these? Who do they think they are? Like, what person has the like guts to get on stories and talk about themselves? Like, this is, and why am I watching this? Why am I?
I think my first story series was literally where I walked and showed people what used to be a storage room, and then I realized it was just a collecting junk, and then we turned it into the dance room. Like, and I remember being like, "Am I brave enough to post this?"
Okay, yeah. So I'm driving home. My job there was in Provo, or it was in Lehigh, and we were living in West Valley. So I remember getting in the car, driving home. It was dark, and it was like 5 o'clock traffic or whatever. So it was probably in October or something. And I am stuck in traffic and I have to pee so bad. Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it.
It's a bad feeling as a grown up.
So I don't know what like possessed me, but I got on stories and I was like, okay, we're going to get through this together. I just remember, and I did these traffic reports is what I call them. And I'm like,
oh my gosh, I'm so sad I missed this.
Report. Oh man, I should repost these. But
You
I'm like,
totally should.
Traffic report. I'm driving and storing. I know you're all going to kill me for that, but I just remember talking about how I was going to pee my pants. And like, I kept passing exits because I couldn't get over in time to like get off. And part of me was just like, I'd rather sit here and pee than like pull over. So anyway, it was so weird for me and super uncomfortable. And I just remember every week I would do my traffic report and okay, so it was terrifying to start. Yeah. But the second I started, everyone connected with me. Mm-hmm. My cousins who I hadn't talked to in a long time, my family, my sisters were laughing. Like the feedback that I got was like fuel. Yeah. People were like, I can't wait for your traffic report. And I was like, oh, you watched that?
Love certainty. They love when they know that they can show up and expect something. Yes. Which is like so good and why people feel connected to people on social media, but it's also the reason why if you do or say anything that they haven't made up in their brain that is accurate, then all of a sudden they're like, wait, that's not how it's supposed to be. And they have those expectations. But
yeah. And I think another thing was like, every single person has been in that situation.
Totally.
We've all had to pee while driving. Like we've all been in that, like that relatability was like,
totally.
It was connecting to me and to them. And then it opened the door for more conversation and more, right? So then I like am DMing and so I started doing stories and that's when I really was like, oh, this is like, I like this. Yeah. I don't like posting. To this day, I don't like posting, but I love to story. Still, that's like my thing.
Yeah, because it's like a true connection with other people. It opens up conversation. Yeah.
Yes. And it's just so like, good. Honestly, people are like, what is your Instagram? And I'm like, I don't know. Don't make me like, I don't know. But like, I think the bottom line is like, I'm going through life with everyone else and we're just like celebrating or commiserating what is happening.
But you're so open to connection and I think that that's something that's really cool is that when you're open to connecting to other people, that's when like growth happens in relationships. And sometimes there's people who like it's easy on social media for it to feel like a watch me instead of like, here we are together, like we are doing this. Yeah.
It's funny because not many people, I didn't get that stories have nothing to do. They have nothing to do with me. And people are like, but it's true. If it were all about me, I would not be where I am now. It is all about them. Yeah. It's all about them. Yep. All of it.
Yep. It's so
true. Crazy. I mean, it is. Yeah. I find joy and I find fulfillment and I love it. But like, I never story thinking what's in it. Like, it's about me. I'm talking about me. Yeah. Like, it's more like, oh my gosh, did you do like,
yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got you. Like,
it's
or like,
so true. Yeah. You're so good at that.
Anyway, it's just interesting because not many people, and I thought the same thing. I was like, but think they can story. And then I find myself storing every day and I'm like,
which is so cool. Yeah. But which is so cool because now your husband works with you. Right? Is that true? No? Well, okay.
No, he did. And then I was like, I think this isn't working. We don't work together.
Okay. So does he have a different job or are you the job?
I'm the job.
But that's amazing. Yeah.
But he he got into day trading for a while, and now
That's cool.
he's really taking over like our house project. So he'll
Yep.
be like,
Which is going to be a job and a half.
gonna be a job. So
yeah, no, that's so awesome. Well, I think that this is so fascinating, hearing about the different steps that you've taken in your life, because A, I didn't know about a lot of them, but B, I think that that is such an important part of growth, is that sometimes we only see like some success in others, and we're like, oh, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice that if I got a funny haircut and then everyone, followed me, and then all of a sudden I was making money, and my husband could quit his job, and oh, wouldn't that be nice, right? and it's like this little there's like this little inch in there, but I believe that growth is happening far, far, far before anyone sees it. And I would love no, so far, right? And you're a perfect example of that.
I started storing like 2 years before Carol happened, obviously, but I think because I was in the habit of doing it, I felt comfortable when people landed. I think a lot of people go viral and then it's gone the next day, right?
Yep.
Which I was expecting that. I think what shocked me was it's like, okay, I'm going viral. Okay. I don't really know what that means, but people are staying. So then I'm like, I remember waking up the day after Carol and having, I don't know, 5,000 new followers or something. And I was like,
you're like, what just happened?
Oh, I had a panic attack. I was like, I can't story. Like, I cannot get on here because I don't know any of, like, I don't know these people. What am I going to say? Like, I just literally vividly, I'm like, what do you say when you're on a stage and there's 5,000 people sitting in the audience? What do you literally say?
Yeah. But you're like, they also want to know what is going on in my thoughts today. They need a follow-up, and you did so good, like following up and then continuing it and moving on. So I think
I had this panic attack, and I'm like, what the freak do I post? And I actually said a little prayer because I really was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And I clearly heard just be you, just be your, just keep doing what you've just been doing. And I was like, from that moment forward, it was like, oh, okay, easy.
Like all I have to do is
just let the number melt away, because that really doesn't matter. And I was like, oh, okay.
I remember the day you said that in your stories of when someone had asked you a question, and I can't even remember what the question was, but you're like, you guys, I have been here all along. I've been doing this. I have been waking up the same. I've been talking about my kids. I've been, like sharing these things all along. You just didn't know about me. And I think and your willingness to just continue being you and continue showing up as yourself, that's a huge example of like doing the work or being the person, and then just being so comfortable and confident with yourself so that you could continue being that person. And also just accepting that people liked you for you. They came for you, right? They didn't come for this person.
You have to, like okay, so they call it a platform, right?
Yeah.
You have to build the platform. What is the platform? Like, what is that? What's the platform that you're standing on? And I think what was awesome is Carol happened and people landed on a platform. Like they saw
that's so good.
So then they stayed. It was like, okay, so what platform are you building? And what problem does it solve? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
because they can land right next to you, but if there's no like platform foundation, then platform, what are you going to do with it?
They're gone. So
yeah.
So I feel like you talked about waiting.
Yeah.
Like you were like the waiting period.
Yeah. The waiting, because a lot of people want to, they maybe they even have a little glimpse of success. Maybe they start a company that is doing well, or they work for a company that's doing well, or like these little tiny bits and pieces. And maybe it's not the whole puzzle, but like they get frustrated with that, like single piece of putting the pieces together, and that they just don't want to wait for the puzzle to be built. It's like, this isn't working. I have this little piece and I'm like, well, this is fine, but like, this isn't working, and it's like that waiting of consistency and just what did that look like for you?
Yeah. So it's funny because the minute you asked me that, like when you were like, let's do a podcast, and we're I don't know why the waiting part like really stood out to me, but I've been thinking about it quite a lot. And it's funny because every really big thing in my life, I have like had to wait for. So like my first kiss, for example, that didn't happen until I was 21. So like I waited a long time for that first kiss, right?
Yeah.
Getting married. Like, my first kiss was at 21, right? Like my first boyfriend was Ammon, who is my husband. Like I waited a long time for that good thing to happen. Having children, right? I went through infertility for 3 years before I had my first child. I had to wait. Like, it's just funny, like how I look back at my life and like the most important things that have happened to me have come after a long period of waiting. And so it's funny because currently, Ammon and I sold our house 2 years ago.
I was so sad when you were selling that house. I was like, the garden boxes.
No. And it's funny because I wanted to go live, like I guess that I've been given the waiting because I'm the most impatient person and hustler in the world. It's just like, come on, yep. next thing. And so I was like, let's sell our house. Let's go find our homestead and go live my fantasy life. Like, that's what I want to do. So let's go do it.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years. We have searched, I don't know, 15 different states. We've gone all over Kingdom Come trying to find a freaking house. And it's been like such a long process. We have found houses. That's one thing I have not had to wait for is houses.
Yeah.
Those opportunities have just come and presented and been there, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
This house has taken us years. And the funny thing is my parents owned this house until yesterday.
Yeah.
Literally, we signed the papers yesterday.
And so I'm exciting.
Like, why is this one? This should be the easiest one ever.
Yeah.
We have gone through fire hoops galore. And it's not even the money. Like, the money has been the easiest part of it. It's all these like weird, unexpected things that we have had to wait for. And like yesterday signing those papers, it was like
your first kiss.
I would have rather waited to get my first kiss another 2 years and gotten this out faster. Like,
no, it's true. Yeah. So what do you think when you look at these seasons of waiting, when you look back, because in the moment it's horrible, right? It's like, this is the worst.
Fertility was just,
that is
the worst.
Yeah.
It's just
the
like,
worst.
You question, like, why am I not worthy? Am I not good enough? Like, why, like with the kiss, like, am I not pretty? Where's my worth? Right? Like,
yeah.
Like, I think a lot of women are like, especially teenage, it's like, well,
they like attach it. They attach it to something. Yeah. Like that meaning
everything,
something.
right? I'm not
right.
So in these periods of waiting, it's the magical mystery box of death that I hate.
Yeah.
But it makes the reward so much sweeter. And when I look back, I'm like, these are the moments that have actually defined my character of who I am without these things, right? Without the kiss, who am I without a man? I never, like, there are women who have never been alone.
Yeah.
They get a boyfriend and they go from boyfriend to boyfriend to boyfriend.
Yeah.
Husband to husband, or what, like, or they get married at 18 and they have a very happy marriage for 50 years, but like they are defined with their husband because they never had the chance to be alone. Like, that's where a lot of midlife crises come from.
It's actually true. And I actually, so I don't know if you know this, but I started dating Ryan when I was 16 years old.
Oh, okay.
And we dated for 4 years and then we got married, and there's a lot more to our story, and this isn't about me or my story, but like, I will say that Ryan has been so good at giving me permission to continue to grow as an individual. And I think a lot of people don't
That's
get that opportunity, right? Like,
healthy. And that's really, I feel like that's the exception, not the rule, which is really
oh
sad.
yeah, and that's something that I always try to like encourage and teach, and with women is like, you have to be okay. My friend Liz always says you and you. It's like, how are you and you? Like, how are you with yourself? How are
Yeah.
you, like, what are you doing with yourself? How are you growing with yourself? Are you connected with yourself? And I've been really, really lucky in that situation to be able to do that. But I think that's the most powerful thing. And I think that that's something that you're speaking to in this waiting. It turned into a you and you situation where you,
Every time you have to wait for something, it completely reverts back to you and you. I love that. It converts back to like, who are you? What do you really want? Like, why is this a part of the plan to get you to where you want to go? Or is it like, and I feel like those things, there's been a lot of things I've waited for that I never got, and they fell out of my life because they didn't align. And I'm so happy they didn't happen immediately, because it would have taken me away from what I really wanted.
That's actually a really interesting thought of like, in this waiting, does it give us more opportunity to make sure that the things that we are going after, like, it's like putting clothes in a shopping cart. You know how it feels really, really good in that moment. You like put it all in a shopping cart. And then if you like sit on it for a couple hours and then you like go back and you're like, oh, actually, I probably don't need half of this.
Yeah.
And that's a really good way to kind of see that waiting period in life when it feels like a struggle or it feels really exciting. And you're like, why isn't it just happening for me? But like, maybe that time is giving you the space to be with you and you, and then also to only have the things that are really meant for you to come into your life.
Yes. And I keep seeing this quote.
So cool.
And I'm noticing it more because it's like, everything that you were meant to have will come to you, or something like that.
Yeah.
But I believe it. It's like, okay, so it's, for example, this house, right? It's been 2 years. We have had many discussions, Ammon and I, and my parents, the kid, like, is this really where we're supposed to be? We have had many opportunities to walk away and start a different thing and go buy a different house and go do this. And it's like, it forces us to like reconvene, reestablish what we really want, right? So it's like, no, I really do want a garden. I really do want to live in Salt Lake. I really do want to have a school nearby, as much as I want to go live in the middle of Nebraska with no neighbors for hundreds of miles. Like, maybe having a school close by might be a good idea for now.
Yeah.
But it forces you to go to self-evaluate. For me, another thing that happens. Yeah. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I think that's where the most growth happens, is when we are willing to self-evaluate.
Yes. And I feel like that rarely happens when you're in the middle of tons of stuff going on. And unless you're having a mental breakdown and you're like forced to reevaluate. Seriously. And it's usually not a good self-evaluation, because you're losing your mind. So another thing that happens in the waiting period for me is like so much creativity. And you've heard like, let the kids be bored, right?
Yeah.
I feel like
that's so good.
Bored.
Yeah.
What happens when we're bored, right? Like, we are bored and it's terrible.
It's so creative.
Something happens in our brain because I don't know, is this like self-preservation because we're going to be bored to death? Maybe. But I am like, okay, I have started so many, like all the hobbies that I've ever started have happened in the wait periods. I love it. And hobbies are like I'm a hobby girl. Like, bees totally happened in a waiting period. We're getting or
so scared.
Gardening, the things that I like actually want to do. Writing,
your cookbook,
the cookbook, writing. Doing the cookbook has been a huge thing.
Even the haircut, it was actually a waiting period because you had the process of wait. There was no like quick change I mean, you did a great job like adapting, but that was a waiting period.
Oh, well, and then people are like, oh, you make so much money, right? Let's talk about, do you want to talk about money? Should we?
Yeah, sure. You bet.
Let's go there.
Absolutely. Yes.
So it's funny because when I went viral, I had no idea who influencers were. I had no idea that there was this whole behind the scene, like you could make money, right?
Yeah.
Not a clue. Not a clue. And the first thing everybody is saying is like, how are you monetizing? What are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know what that means. I don't even know what
like people are sending me free stuff. Does that count?
Oh, people sent like so much stuff. And I was like, I feel like a millionaire because my whole house is full of just all this stuff. And I'm like, this is amazing. I like at the beginning when you get
it felt like Christmas.
Stuff,
yeah.
Oh, you're just like, oh, another 25 packages today. Like, it's just like so fun. And then you're like, then
where do we put all these cardboard boxes?
Then you realize nothing's free, right? And you're like, oh, people were expecting me to like post about that.
Mm-hmm.
Or
yeah,
it's just been a learning curve. It's insane how much of a learning curve it is.
Totally.
So then I had this expectation of like, oh, I need to be making money. I need to monetize. Right. So then, and then it's like, oh, how do I get deals? How do I get like ads? Because ads are like the thing. Like, oh, if you can get an ad deal, like,
yeah.
which is so funny because, yeah. And then affiliates, it's like, oh, well, you can make money with, you can make money here and doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I got into this like weird place where I'm like, oh, it's not worth it unless you're making money. And then I got sucked into this like vortex of like doing ads, doing this, doing that. And like, as soon as I started doing ads, my engagement like kind of plateaued. And it was like, oh, like, well, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to grow. I don't know how to sell. Like, it was like this very weird time. So I went through this crazy journey, and I feel like last year I was like, I can't, like, this is just crazy. So I literally took my family to Hawaii. We took our kids out. We stayed in Hawaii for 3 weeks, and I had like massive deconstruction. Like, what the freak am I doing? What are my goals?
Yeah.
Who am I? And it was like this really good time to self-reflect during this waiting period of like, what is my objective?
Yeah, like what am I actually doing here?
Yeah. And like, obviously you have to do, I have learned that there is a balance. You definitely like, I cannot do this for free.
Right.
At this level,
no.
A weekly traffic reports totally would do it for free. Love that.
Right.
But like at the level of this job, like,
well, everything is an energy exchange. So if you're constantly putting out so much energy and there's nothing coming back to you, you will die. Right. Yeah. And so one of the phrases that comes to when I was coaching women, and I literally was in this like dark hallway, and I was kind of feeling overwhelmed, and I literally prayed like, what do these women need? And as clear as day, it was the phrase fire in their heart, peace in their soul. And because I was with all of these women that wanted more, that wanted to make change for the good in the world, that wanted to grow these things and wanted to know who they were and wanted to have an impact on the world. And so there was this passion, this fire, but also a lot of them were coming because they had put the fire, the passion, that drive into everything that they were doing, but it came also at the expense of their peace. And so as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh. And I know that sounds crazy that I say I heard it, but like literally heard that. And it was for me, but it was also for all the women that I work with. And I think that you're explaining this perfectly, is that, you had that fire and that drive, and you were going, and you got to this place where all of a sudden you looked around and you had like burned down your village, and you were like, oh crap, like what, now what do I, and so you go to Hawaii, to seek this peace that you described as your ultimate desire at the very beginning. And I think that's true for all of us, is that, that we have these things that that light us up, that make us feel excited about life, but also like the peace is something that we have to protect and we have to like be intentional about. And that comes from the self-reflection. And so I guess a good question for you now is like, what right now is something that is lighting your heart on fire?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I feel like, before I answer that, I just want to comment and say that, like, I feel like there are so many strong, capable women today,
Yeah.
and we tend to, like, strong women, we tend to measure our worth based on what we do, our output, our, like, how we're helping, what we're doing, and not who we are. And I think we're chasing, the minute that I find myself chasing that, or that hustle, I lose everything. Like, nothing works.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people push so hard and hustle so hard that they lose the peace, they lose the vision, they lose like the real fantasy of what they want. And I'm going to call it a fantasy because I think we can with our fantasies.
No, I am so with you on that. I'm absolutely with you. And you know, the interesting part is, and I've said this a million times to Ryan, I'm like, I'm going to quit it all. Like, I'm going to burn it all to the ground. And he reminds me, that's fine, but you'll just start something new. And so burning it all down is not the answer, but boundaries, but protecting your peace, but setting out, like, what am I actually here to do?
And I would say figuring out what you're actually doing and why.
Yeah, right.
I
Yep.
think that has just, like you said, the boundaries, the, like, purpose, the waiting period, it's all a part of it. I think what has brought me the most peace is recognizing that, like, honestly, I've been in this waiting period for a long time, and I feel like I'm finally appreciating the downtime. I watched this movie the other day about this old man who was going to die, and he literally was just like, I'm going to give my land to somebody. It's like 5,000 acres of wooded territory, and I'm going to give it away if you come to my funeral, right? Get low. It's a good movie. But I'm sitting there, and the lady, it's so funny because everybody in the town flips out. They're like, I want it. I need it. Like, people that never even wanted land,
right,
or cared about land, it was like, I need that. I need the land. I need the land. Everybody. And this old woman is like, that's the last thing I want. Like, it's just funny that in our life, throughout our life, we all want different things at different stages. And the older I get, the more I'm like, do I really want the land? Like, literally and figuratively.
No, that's
like,
so
what
true.
do I actually really
want?
Do I really want a Lamborghini? Do I really want to be the most successful woman making 7 figures? And at what cost?
Mm-hmm.
Do I really want to be this, like, flashy, famous, amazing person that everybody looks up to? Do I want the credentials? Do I want the, and it's like, I could totally go for that. And if that's what you want, go for it.
Right. There might be some people that absolutely, yes, but
not at the cost
of your life. If
you want a family, that's going to be the cost. Sorry. If that's what you want, that's going to be the cost. If you want fame, it will cost you your family. And I know that because I've had like, right?
Yeah.
Fame,
so
money, power. Fame, money, power. Those are 3 things that you will never get enough of. You will never have enough what you actually want and then stick to that boundary.
No, that is so good. And I also think like we once we know who we really are and what we actually really want, we actually give that up without attachments of results or outcomes. And some of them that we would wish for will naturally come back to us, and some of them won't. But when you show up truly as yourself with a purpose of connection or inspiration or teaching or motivation or whatever it is that is important to you, when you can show up like that and release any, like, there are no strings attached in me, like giving this up to you. It's who I am. It's what is important to me. It's what I want to share with the world.
Yes. It's beautiful. That's where success is, right? Like,
right. And that's how we protect our peace.
Yes. But if your motivators are money, fame, and power, I'm telling you right now, it will never, ever, ever be enough. And if you're looking for followers, you will never have enough followers. I'm telling you right now. Go ask somebody with 1 million followers.
Yeah.
Do you have enough followers? I guarantee you they will be like, no, like I need to get to the next benchmark, 2 million.
Because there's always someone who has
there's always somebody better. There's always somebody you're going to compare yourself to. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
but if you look inward and say, wow, I have 10 people that follow me, and I'm going to influence them for the better.
Yeah. And this is what's important. This is the important message or feeling for me to be. Yeah. No, it's so true.
1 million followers that don't give a damn. Like, it is like, that is probably the most revelatory thing I found, is that the people that follow you because there's a connection, you're getting something, they're getting something. That exchange it's priceless, and that's what success is to me.
Yeah. So good. That's amazing. No, I have absolutely loved like watching you in your journey. And I know it's like we get a little bits and pieces of real life connection, but also just watching you handle this whole experience with such like honesty and integrity and grace has been super inspiring. And I think that it shows that you're being true to yourself with the fact that people stay and they want to be connected to you and they want to learn from you. And I even, myself personally, I'm like, this is it. Like, this is what I want. Like, I want those are the kind of relationships or interactions that I want to experience in my day, are people like me who are, know what their priorities are or know what is important to them, and that they're honest and open. And we might have different priorities and we might have different experiences, but when people are willing to share that, I just think it's so, so amazing. So thank you so, so much for talking to me today.
I feel so lucky. I'm like, you're such a babe. You are, honestly, I love that you every time I see you, you're very positive and happy and lovely. And I know that everybody struggles. So it's hard, like, I don't know. Everybody struggles. And I love that you are an optimist and that you are always pushing. You're always so kind and you're so authentic in your ability to like motivate and share. And like, you have such a, what is the word? I want to say bountiful mindset, but it's scarcity versus
abundant.
I don't know what that abundant. You have such an abundant mindset, and it's just,
which is like, it's totally a gift, but then also like that is one of the struggles when you have this when you believe in all the good things to come, or you believe in the opportunity that is available, but that waiting that we've talked about today, the waiting and
so hard.
Yeah, like
I know it's gonna happen.
or sometimes it looks different, and that is like the releasing that attachment of the results has probably just been the best thing that I've been able to work on. And it's something that we all have to continue to work on forever, because it's showing up because knowing what our purpose or our goals are. So that's really nice of you. And thank you so much. And they can all find you, Abi Ayers, on Instagram. And I'm sure everything's linked from there. Is that right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, you're awesome. Have a good day. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks. Love you.
Love you more.